what are their attributes, how are they single, how old are they, do they speak English, factors like that. We also had, well, why are they coming to the UK? So this is the first thing we wanted to define. We then did another brainstorm, some of the issues they may encounter, and one for what is locality? What does it mean to be local? How does one become local? So that was quite a high-level thing to brainstorm again. But then we narrowed it down out of these big piles here to saying, well, these are going to be more like this. So they're going to be single, young, probably Anglophonic or reasonable level of English to be using this app. It's not a app to learn language, we've decided. Reasonably similar culture to the UK, probably. Why they're coming here? Well, probably for education, for business. They're emigrating here to try and work or just to live here, and they're going to be here for at least a year. So these are our users, fundamentally. What is it to be local was the other question, and probably we could tell things like sense of identity and belonging makes someone mental. Mental? Local. The customs and beliefs, are they shared, are they different? The local news, sense of history and geography, the use of language, but also in a sort of broader sense, what's important to people. So what are people thinking about? What matters to them? When you go into a pub, what are people discussing? Do you understand that? And if you do understand, and if you know what people are thinking, well, you're probably feeling more local than when I go into a shebeen somewhere in the middle of Africa. I don't know what people are thinking really, or what they're worried about, because I'm not local. So these were what we were thinking about. We then thought about, well, okay, these people have come to the UK. What's that kind of process? What's that journey? So we broke that down into a series of phases. So phase 1, phase 0 is pre-arrival, what they do before they actually get to the UK. What are they reading up? What are they trying to understand? Phase 1 is when they just get here. So they've just arrived in the UK. They're sort of out basically getting around in a taxi or getting a hotel room or really fundamental stuff like that. Phase 2 is then orientation. So they've got their kind of hygiene factors sorted out and they've settled down a little bit, but they're still not sure about lots of things. They're still orienting themselves, seeing how everything works, how people act, what to expect. But eventually they settle down a bit more in engagement. So then they've got a flat, they've got everything set up, they've probably got a job. And at this stage, they're trying to engage with the culture in better ways. They're trying to meet people. They're trying to start doing sports or activities. Maybe find a partner, things like that. And then final sorts of phases are they're largely indistinguishable from locals. So maybe they're actually helping other people who've just arrived as well. So they sort of become the mentor. And we kind of plotted this on a curve. So it starts out as a I'll actually do this on here because it is a tiny post-it note. So there's time, and there's integration.
About 20 seconds left.
Okay. And then over time you see they integrate more, but then it kind of plateaus out. And we decided we want to look at this orientation phase and develop things. So they've settled down, they're just trying to get used to the country, they're trying to learn a few things. And we haven't exactly decided what it will be, but it will probably be, the app will develop, will be a mobile app to help them to, as we put here, meet people and become integrated more efficiently. So it's really much about meeting people, about engaging in activities. Exactly what we haven't quite worked out yet.
Any questions from the rest of the group?
I've got a question.
Yeah.
Was one of your user groups that you're considering criminals?
I didn't write it.
It was mentioned at one stage.
How they would quite get to the border, we don't know.
They're terribly underserved in the current app. I've got a question. Did you do any research in coming up with these phases?
No, we discussed what the research would have been in the ideal situation, but obviously we weren't able to. So ideally what we would have done would be a diary study, because as we saw it was a very longitudinal process. It's something happening over time, this integration, and it's not something that you can really capture in a little snapshot of just doing a contextual interview or something.
And not necessarily for every cultural background will it follow the same sort of curve either.
Exactly.
There may be curves that don't end up in the later phases, etc.
Sure, but we've taken a decision, as I say, that people who've reasonably similar cultural background may be using this. So this is the curve for them in a sense, but yes, if it's a different cultural background, it could be down again or something, so.
Might never get off the ground.
To really fully define exactly what this app will be in order to help people meet people and become better integrated. Discussion. And brainstorming still, we've not quite finished its phase.
Okay, can we move on to